normal day, I arrive at 9 at the studio. After, I walk into the studio and power up everything. Normally I start the day with an idea I had in mind, or just lay down some chords to set the mood. Sometimes I just begin with some basic drum elements to get a vibe, so I can groove on it and continue building a track. In this track called Halos, I started with some rhythmic elements to create a certain groove. I achieved this with a machine MIDI controller, which I modified inside of Ableton with a custom-made drum rack. With this rack, I can easily scroll and jam through my drum samples. This for me is the perfect way to keep the groove going on. After I was happy and okay with the basic drums, I looked for a percussion element which I could run for the entire length of the track. I found a short bass kind of sound and played with the velocity to give it a bit more groove. Besides sampling in the box, I always like to record some parts myself, like shakers. After this process, I created the bass line with the Moog Sub 37. I recorded this a couple of times so I could choose the right one. The 37 has a distinctive sound, but with such a natural and aggressive low end, it perfectly fits for this track. At one moment I had a solid loop, and I always try to lay down this as soon as possible. When it's just too much for the moment, or I don't feel the vibe and try to push myself too hard in the studio, I lay down my work and take a walk outside in the park. Back in the studio, I tried to find the right chords for this track and just play some different progressions. I felt that this song didn't need a melody line. Instead, I searched for some vocal lines, because that was definitely the perfect fit for this track. Furthermore, I use a lot of effects inside of Ableton to fill up the space and make the track more wider. Sometimes those effects can go crazy, but that's just so inspiring. I also use a lot of LFOs, so everything feels a bit more human. Last but not least, I processed the track so it will sound good enough before sending it out to some of my favorite labels and artists. After 2 days, I just couldn't believe what was happening. Artists where I looked up to played my track, people were asking for the track title, and in the end, I got signed at a really good label. Halos was officially traveling the world, faster than I even could imagine. Thanks for watching the stories behind Halos. Take care, and I see you soon.